You're listening to another episode of the Smart Agency Masterclass, where we believe that having the right systems in place will allow you to grow faster and easier. I am your host, Jason Swenk, and I am excited to have a good friend of mine, Chris with Arke Systems, on the Masterclass. He's going to talk about his journey from zero all the way to over 8 figures, and he's going to tell you exactly what to avoid and some of the things that you can go do right now in order to really grow at a faster pace and a little bit easier. Now, before you go listen to the interview, I want to ask you a question. Would you like the support and resources you need in order to grow faster and easier, where you have direct access to me to ask me questions, where I send you what's working strategies every single month that you can go execute so you can grow faster and get there easier? Now, if you want to know more about this, request an invite at agency.university. That's agency.university. All right, Chris, man, welcome to the show.
Awesome, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Well, we go way back. We were kind of, strategic business partners back in the day with our agencies. And so for the people that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about your agency and your track.
Yeah, absolutely. And back far enough that I'm still here in this all dressed up and you're in flip-flops and a t-shirt. So I don't know which one of us. So I have a computer science background. We started Arke 11 years ago. I met my business partner while we were at Turner Broadcasting in their enterprise application group, and we hung a shingle that said, "We will code for food." Did anything and everything that somebody would bring us, and that went on for about a year and a half, and we had 5 people working for us full time, and it was like, this is kind of interesting. We should actually make a real swing at this. And we went from working out of the condo to working in an actual office space and bringing customers into the office versus the coffee shop at the bottom of the condo. And it's been an interesting ride ever since, right? I think, the early days of we'll code anything to where we are today, we've gone through multiple iterations of what it means to be a business.
Oh, that's cool, man. And just for everybody listening, like, Chris has gone from zero to over the 8-figure mark. So they're definitely doing very, very well. How many people do you have?
We're sitting at 82 today.
Yeah, that's a lot. Cool.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people listening, they'll be like, that's great, and that's a pretty big jump in their minds, right? Yeah. And a lot of people are around the mindset of going, man, if I had to have 80 people directly report to me, I would just go insane because I can't even manage 5. So right. How do you guys manage that, and kind of what were the stages that you went through?
I assume that it's similar feedback that you hear a lot, right? And it's the people that you put around you. I think back even today, right? Some of the hardest things that you have is letting go, right? I dealt with an issue this morning where, a client is unhappy and, we're buddies. So they came right to me and I said, "Hey, I don't even know what's going on," right? Like, you and I haven't talked in 6 months. You've got to take this up with the account person. As much as you want to dive into that problem and say, "I'm going to help you fix it," like, if you break that chain of command, it does make it completely overwhelming. Everybody goes around everybody to get to,
yep.
To get to the top, but the people that we brought on board are everything possible. You can rely on them to do what is best, not just for the agency and the brand, but for your customer and what they're trying to accomplish. So, is it harder with more people? The payroll is definitely a bigger number every month, which carries its own level of stress. Making sure that you've always got the right sales pipeline and opportunity pipeline is a big deal. But, the work that you get to do is much more meaningful, in my opinion. Like, I really get to focus in on the things that I love versus some of the stuff that I love and a lot of the stuff, project management, finance, that I just really didn't have any interest in.
Yeah. Now, what were some of the systems that, and I'm not talking about technology because I'm a systems guy, and I'm like, you have to kind of do this in order to get to the next level. So what were some of the systems that you feel that you had to have in place outside of
Yep.
just, having the right people in order to kind of move up the next notch, to grow quicker? Like if you could go back and tell yourself, 8 years ago, like what would you tell yourself and be like, dude, you can do this?
Yeah. I think at the beginning, I said we hung the shingle of will code for food. And it really was, we would do anything for anybody, anywhere, any technology. I've got a consultant upstairs that will still complain about the German encrypted Perl project that we brought in the door, right? What a pain that was. The levers that we used, and this maybe not be the process or the system statement that you're asking about, but the more niched we became, the faster we grew and accelerated. So, if I look at the last 11 years, we do, okay, we're going to do this new thing, right? And maybe the new thing is a technology platform. We're going to go learn CRM systems. We're going to pick one CRM system that we can attach to. We're going to pick an industry that we can do it really well in. We're going to build capability really specifically and then let that kind of grow out. I'd make the same statement around content management platforms. Unlike some of the folks listening, we didn't have a creative department until a year ago, right? We were really honed in on the technology side, but when we said we need to go after creative, we said these are the industries that this is the industry that we're going to go after. These are the types of projects we're going to go after so that we can build a book of business around creative, right? The user experience and design aspect. And then as we get that really solid foundation, then we can start to expand out. So that niching strategy has worked for us over and over again as kind of the foothold into new service categories, new client types, and then the process around that. I think it does come, we could talk about how do you run your sales process and what does your marketing process look like. At the end of the day, the two most important for us are service delivery and account management.
Yeah, totally
right?
agree. Yeah, and I love, because you were one of the first to really kind of dive into with Sitecore, right? You guys dominate the Sitecore market on content management, like we did on Sitefinity, and so and then you started taking that and then applying that to Microsoft and all of that, and so there's so many people that kind of struggle with that, and they go, Chris, Jason, I don't want to scare anybody away. I want to be able to tell everybody we can do anything. But I mean, if you don't use Chris or myself as an example, I mean, look, like they're 8 figures, right? There's a reason. And there's a reason why people are banging down your door, and where you guys have this nice pipeline is because you said, we are going to become the best in the world at this, and picked a particular technology and then layered it with, an industry. And if you guys cannot do that, then you're going to struggle, because that's the first step. Because Chris, back me up on this. Like, you can't position yourself, or you don't know how to prospect if you don't know who you're going after and how to position, what you offer.
Well, exactly. And, I think back 8 years ago, it was easy, marketing technology was so nascent that it was great. You have 2 developers that can spell CMS, go for it. It didn't matter what technology you then brought in, right? Now, though, right, buyers are so much more sophisticated. They are not going to let you, guinea pig them on their big project with something you've never touched before. And they, and you've got agencies that have gone down the niche route that are selling against you. Like, oh, so that firm with 8 people that knows every technology, they've got to be really good at that list of 100 logos they've got on that technology slide with those 8 people, don't you think? Yeah. So I think, you're getting sold against in a way that we're leaving grenades behind that you're going to fall into if you haven't picked a niche. And B, like, just sophistication of these buyers, mandates a extreme proficiency in the technology.
Yeah. And I remember a story a couple years ago. You were working with a pretty big brand, not at the time though, and you probably know the brand I'm talking about. You can mention the brand or whatever. And you helped build a lot of the technology for them. This goes back into your account management. This is probably what triggered you guys to get really focused on the account management, where the one brand that you were working with did not know you did so many other things. Right?
Yep.
And then you found out like a couple years later that they spent worked with other agencies, spent $2-3 million with other people.
10 times what they had spent with us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So So I'm glad you guys have figured out the account management. So talk more about that, because that's something I know I always kind of struggled with, like the account management system. Like, how are you guys set up for that?
Yeah, it's a small team. It reports directly to my partner, as CEO and founder. Has a very close relationship with delivery. Sits right there with the delivery folks. Right, they're not in a different part of the office. And I think most importantly, you've got to convince someone in account management to be able to be empowered to do a couple of things. One, they've got to be able to say no. Right. I think there's such a propensity in account managers that if I have to tell somebody no, they're going to hate us and we can't do any more work with them and it's going to be all over. And the best thing that you can do is say, nope, we don't do that type of work, or nope, we're not going to do that on this project because it's going to blow out your timeline or your budget or whatever, whatever the request is going to impact. I think the second thing that we had to get over as an organization when it came to the account management function was ask for referrals long before the project is over. Right. We had this, in the beginning, it was, well, we're only a month into this. We can't ask them to chat with a new prospect, or we can't, ask them for a referral over to a different business unit, and the comeback was, well, aren't they happy? Right. I mean, if we're a month in, if they're unhappy, like that's a different problem.
That's a oh shit thing.
But presuming that they're happy, they've engaged with our team for the last month in a variety of different functions. Like sometimes prospects want to talk to somebody that's brand new and understand how that funnel goes. And I guarantee you there's other work going on that client that is currently in love with what you're doing could introduce you to around the business. So you got to get over that fear, right? And who cares if they say, nope, we're not ready to do that. At least you had the question. From there, it's just education. Yeah. Right. You've got to have the account management team aware of all the innovative, cool, different things that you're doing. And they've got to be driving that out to the clients on a regular basis via lunch and learn, email, phone calls, whatever. Those three pillars have been really key in making sure that, existing accounts grow, are aware of all the capabilities.
Yeah, I love that you said education. And you guys have Arke University, right?
Yep.
So how are you guys using that to fuel your business?
So what Jason is talking about, last year and a half ago, we brought an educational designer in, and he interviewed across the business, the marketing folks, the project management team, the delivery side, specialists in different technology categories, and we developed 11 workshop Arke University. So we use it in kind of two ways. One, it's a great honeypot out there on the web. We give away a free chapter, collect information. You're doing the same thing, right? We're learning what they're interested in based on which chapter they decide to download. Beyond that, though, and the way that we justified the project internally was we use it to kick off new clients. So beginning of a new project engagement, we run their IT department, their marketing department, their support department, whoever's going to be involved, their PMO office, through Arke University. And we do it over a course of 2 days. And we go, look, at the end of this, we're all going to have the same language. We're going to know what a content management system is as a group. We're going to know what multi-touch attribution is as a group. We're going to understand agile versus waterfall across these departments so that we speak from the common sheet of music. And it changes the whole course of the project.
Well, it builds trust, right?
Right.
They get to know you guys. They get to
Yep.
trust you. And then who else are they going to take their project to?
Right. Yeah.
So that's brilliant. Good. Very good.
It's been good.
Now, let's talk about, I always mention kind of like not giving employees stock, right? Mm-hmm. And giving ownership away. And we were talking kind of pre-show a little bit about that. So what do you do how do you keep all your employees motivated to first once stay, as well as to, feel that their work is being recognized and their work will pay off,
Yep.
in the long run?
Well, I think there's a couple aspects to that. You probably don't speak to an agency owner that doesn't bring up culture in some way, shape, or form. And I think culture is way beyond just we go have fun together and we hit the bars hard and that kind of party atmosphere.
Yeah, we're too old to do that now.
Yeah,
we don't get up the next morning.
For us, the core tenet of our culture is trust. right? So if the account management team doesn't trust what business development is doing, if project managers don't trust the account managers, devs don't trust the project leaders, we call the team rooms war rooms, because we're all in there together with the client going to war against whatever problem they're trying to overcome. So, trust is a core tenet for us. On the financial side of things, something that we decided to roll out 2 years ago is a stock appreciation rights program. So we made everybody in the company, it's a binding legal agreement that says we're on this ride together. And if you're on the ride with us, when we have some kind of event or exit, we're all going to have a financial windfall from it. And that gets leveraged in all types of ways, right? I mean, here's a little, attaboy at a company meeting, year-end bonuses can be cash, or you can get more stock appreciation rights. You get a, grant based out of the, another year in the books. So there's a lot of ways that we've leveraged that as part of an incentive.
That name sounds so much better than Key Employee Program. It's kind of like, that reminds me of in the movie of Jobs, like when Steve Jobs is talking to Steve Wozniak, he's like, that's so much better than phaser photon something, right? Like Apple.
Right.
I was going to someone, I was telling them about the Key Employee Program, because literally there's so many people I work with, and they'll be like, oh, I want to give ownership to this employee. I'm like, don't do it. And then some of them do. And then a year later, they're literally going through, the courts and buying out and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Well, and I mean, if you speak to any attorney, they'll probably be familiar with, employee EARP, employee appreciation rights program, stock appreciation rights program, whatever they call it. And those agreements are written in a way that says, look, if you quit, it all goes right back to the company. And it also comes with company or with employee, protections as well. That says if we fire you, you're going to get 12, 24 months of look ahead, right? So it's not like we can hit that moment and go, everybody's out.
Yeah, that'd be a dick move.
It's got some clauses that provide protection on both sides, and it prevents that. Hey, you have a little bit of ownership now, so we're going to go sign that credit agreement together, and you're going to put your name on the dotted line with us. Which was something we wanted to avoid.
Yeah, very cool. That's awesome. Well, what other things if you had to go back and talk to yourself, now that we know that we need to niche down, we need to get that clarity, we need to surround ourselves with the right team, we need to keep them motivated, we need that account management, all that good stuff. What else is there?
Get rid of the grunt work. Don't run invoicing. Don't
love sending
your
invoices.
Books.
No.
Say that again?
Oh, no. I used to hate sending invoices.
Oh, I mean, whether that's somebody on the team or you outsource that to a different business, I mean, the time lost, the family time that would be consumed on the early days where we're chasing hours from people and trying to find the contracts so we know what the billing terms were. And, being able to outsource that function has been tremendous. The headaches that we resolved ourselves from that. I think the next one is don't build things from scratch. Don't run a CRM system for your business in Excel that you build up over, or Access that somebody on your team could do.
I forgot about that.
Go get a free system and do something with it. Don't and I'd make that same statement when you're out talking to your clients now, right? Nobody wants you to build them a homegrown web platform. There are 1,000 free versions. Use one. Yeah, they exist for a reason.
It's amazing. I mean,
things accelerate everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys built your own CMS back in the day. I know we did. Oh, you didn't?
We never had one. We were .NET Nuke at the beginning, and SharePoint there for a little while, and Sitecore now. So
yeah, we did, and man, that was a mistake. Hell, we built our own email software.
Yep.
And then we quickly killed it when SaaS started coming, because we literally had to install it on every client. I mean, it was crazy. But no, I love that you said, don't do the grunt work, and because as owners, we try to control everything. I think that's why we all started and got into this, jungle of running an agency. It's just we're control freaks, and we don't want to kind of give away control because we don't think someone can actually do a better job, which is actually a mistake. Like when I hired Scott, he did such a better job, which you now have.
Yep.
Right? So, when you hire these key people, they're going to do such an amazing job. And I like the thing about that you said about don't build from scratch. There's you can model things that are already kind of almost there. I mean, there's so much out there. It's crazy.
Well, and to your point, building things from scratch doesn't just have to be technology, right? There are systems, business models that can be replicated, cloned, adapted, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to how you handle invoicing, how you think about marketing. All those things exist.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much information out there that you can find out how to do anything.
Right.
I mean, literally. I mean, think about when I started in '99. I mean, there was no Google, so
right.
we couldn't I had to look in an encyclopedia. Hell, I was going through the yellow book or yellow pages to call people. So It's crazy about how things change now. But you guys have, everybody has running a business now has the greatest opportunity, I believe, ever, and it's only going to keep getting better and better. I mean, you guys are listening all around the world. I still can't imagine we've helped over 20,000 agency owners in 42 countries, which just still blows my mind. It's unbelievable. So, I love it. Well, anything I did not ask you that you think is key for the listener to really kind of go, man, I need to go execute on that?
Yeah. Things that always end up being a distraction or potential to keep you up at night. I mean, figure out what you want to do for your exit, and, don't entertain the person that comes knocking every 3 months along that ride. Know where you're going, and don't get distracted on that journey. And I would also say I look at just the current economy and where things are at right now, and it feels like all these companies are doubling down and really trying to figure out how to grow. So put yourself in a position to capture it.
I love it. Well, thanks, Chris, for coming on, and everybody go check out Arke.com. They do a really amazing job. And for any of you guys that don't want to miss out on episodes like this, I want you to go to Swenk.it. Yes, I got that domain name. I had to buy it.
Nice.
It was easy, right? I was like, because it used to be Italy. But if you don't want to miss out on any agency strategies, any interviews, and you want to get some amazing things, go to Swenk.it, and we will chat with you later. And make sure you guys go take action. Find one little thing from this interview and go execute on it. Don't get overwhelmed by all the things and saying, I need to be at 8 figures or wherever you're at. Just little momentums, little moves forward, and you'll get there one day.